Welcome back once again to my second attempt to doing this video on the seed of judgment. And please pull up a chair, get ready, get some tea, sit down, and maybe spend a little bit of time with me. And I'm deeply grateful when you do. The seed of judgment is a very difficult one. Most of us have heard and read or maybe heard about Jesus' statement, do not judge lest you be judged. Okay, do not judge lest you be judged. That's so simple, right? What you put out there is what you're going to get back. He was concerned about what we are going to receive back into our lives. If we want a good life, we don't want to go around judging others. And we do this. We just do. And some of us, when we receive judgment, depending on how we grew up in life, it could just kind of go down the river, right? And it doesn't really affect us that much. It might make us feel just a little bit unsettled. But for those of us who have received a lot of judgment during especially the formative times of life when we're growing, and those are between the ages of 0 and 7, it's usually within 7-year increments, and between 7 and 14. These are times where we are taking in life like a sponge. We are learning how to be in this world, right? So I just want to give you an example of my own so you can maybe relate to it. And if you don't, you might have one of your own, or maybe you don't relate to it at all. It just all depends on how your life has been. But when I was growing up, especially between, I just want to say age 14 to 15 and maybe to 16, very, very difficult time in my life. And we had made a major move during that time, and I left everything that I knew, and we moved to a place where I really wasn't familiar. We actually moved back to where I originally was being raised, but it was so unfamiliar to me at that point. I had aged a little bit more, I grew up a little bit more, and even though I had more family around me, going to school in a different place was very, very hard. This was during a time of major racial tension. And I was going into a new junior high or middle school, however you look at it. And to say it was unexpected was just really an understatement. And here I am, I am this Caucasian young lady, growing up, soaking in things of the world and trying to just find my place. I think during those ages, you're just looking for your place when you go through the teenagers. And, to say that they're difficult for a lot of us is an understatement, because they can be extremely difficult. And for me, this period of life really was those 2 years between 14 and 16. Now, I was entering into a new school. I was entering into a new group of people that were around me, also growing. And we had not reached that place of maturity. We didn't understand what we were going through in our lives. And that misunderstanding translated into judgment a lot. Now, I was very unassuming type of a person, very awake and aware from a very early age. So for me, and especially partially of the way I was raised, it didn't matter to me how people or how the kids that I was around, how they looked. It didn't matter to me really how they performed. What mattered to me is I just wanted what everybody else wanted in life, and how we always want, what we always desire in life, and that's to be accepted and to be cared about and loved, okay? So I was not really especially great at the gym part of life. It was hard for me. I was a gymnast And that was the easier part of going to, physical education. But the harder part, because I have a spatial problem, I mean, it's hard. I mean, glasses do not correct it. It's something inside of my brain. And if you want to, wonder what that's like, just watch me, how to parallel park or how I parallel park. It is absolutely crazy. I cannot do it because I can't judge very easily between, the bumper or the car, whether it's the back or the front, and the curb. Most of the time I end up crooked, kind of like this. Here's the curb and here I am, and I can go back and forth 100 million times, but I cannot perceive it. And it's something that I really didn't realize in the beginning of life, but I came to understand later in life why things were like that. So if I were to have the challenge of, say, for instance, baseball especially, because having a ball that is somewhat small coming at me and having to swing a bat from a distance, it was very difficult for me to discern where that ball was as it was coming at me, and especially since it was coming at me at a good speed, right? So, here I am trying to be athletic, but I had this problem that I didn't completely understand, and I was like, why am I good at this one thing and not the others? And I think it was just it just really wasn't completely understood. And then there was the racial issue, and that came across very strong as I was going through trying to, I guess, measure up. And we all want to be accepted. We all want to be loved. We all want to be cared about. I didn't know what the problem was as far as being accepted, but it came across very not only judgmental, but it was cruel. It was basically cruel. I had a racial issue going on that wasn't coming from me, but it was coming at me. And going into a new community, I really didn't know how to deal with that. And that major judgment, that felt like it was just so unfair. And it was just so unwarranted. And I just couldn't understand it. It was like, why is this happening? And it wasn't until later I realized it was because they felt judged for a long period of time in their lives. So they judged me and others. I mean, I wasn't the only one. So, it caused a lot of friction and a lot of problems during that time when people went to school. Middle school was extremely difficult. And there was integration, and that made it difficult because so many people were angry. And again, I was rising up into my life. I didn't know why everybody was so angry. I'm like, why are you mad at me? I don't understand. But when it came to choosing teams, I was the last person anybody wanted on their team. I couldn't see anything coming at me. It didn't matter what it was, whether it was a volleyball. I mean, it could have been a meteor, and I just couldn't spatially understand when it was going to hit or come towards me, right? So, this was really hard. I was extremely judged during those periods of time when I had to go out and do physical education. And then yet I was extremely good at gymnastics, and I had to be spatially aware at that time as well. But for some reason it didn't bother me. And then one day, after going through what felt like absolute hell in my life, what happened was I judged myself so much. And how it translated was, I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. I'm not okay. There's something wrong with me. And these are things that were seeded into my life for a period of time, a few years. And along with other things that kind of came along, because, the more you take in, it's like the more you receive, the more you start to attract the same stuff. And I really wasn't a person who judged others, but it did make me upset and it did make me angry. And so in a way, that kind of went out as judgment. I never verbalized anything like that. In my heart of hearts, I couldn't understand. And later on in life, I did understand. I do understand. But one day we were actually playing baseball and I could not believe it. I was just like, please just let me hit the ball. Please just let me hit the ball. Please just let me hit the ball. Because I was going to take a whole bunch of garbage if I didn't. And I was tired of it. You get to a point where you just get really downright oversensitized and angry. And I didn't want that anger to consume me, but I was angry at myself. It was like, why can't you just do the right thing, right? Why can't you do this right? So there I was, and I could hear the moaning behind me. The bases were loaded. I was the one who was at bat. I hear this, oh my God, really? And there came that judgment. And I stood there and I thought, if I could just hit the ball one time, I would feel good about myself. I thought that was going to solve it. And I kid you not, that thing came at me and I cracked it so hard. It went so far. That anger actually propelled me to do far above and beyond what I ever could have done. It even went beyond my spatial difficulty. And I have to say, probably angels, guides, God, the source, the love, all that is, was there with me, because it's like I was praying so hard. Let me hit the ball. And man, I heard my gym teacher say, run. I was so shocked that it was like I was absolutely I was like a statue. But I did run, and we did all come home, including myself. And I kid you not, it felt so good. The one person that judged me the most actually said, good job. And do you know how good that felt? It's like it healed so many seeds. It took out so many roots at that one moment that it just felt so good. And from then on, it's like life got really a lot easier. I was a whole lot more accepted because I did something that everybody else approved of, but it made me have a tendency to be a people pleaser for a time until I understood that I really didn't have to do that. So those are some of the things you can be experiencing. If you're judged a lot, you can find yourself being judged. And the more you do that, the more you attract to you. You could become a people pleaser because you want to be accepted, because you want to be loved as you are. And we all want that. We all desire that. Those are major human needs, okay? We do need those things. And, bless our hearts, sometimes we just let them grow deep and just go ahead and judge everybody in the world. We could become angry when people are so angry at us and they judge us, and it does nothing for us. But judgment can be held within the body, and it can actually hurt your body. If you're not awake and aware, if you're not understanding this, if you haven't gone through something that will help heal you and release you from that energy that has a hold of you, it has all of your energy centers out of balance, for one. And another, you need massive healing for any situations that you might have gone through when you were at those formative ages, between 0 and 7. Think about those times, write about them, journal about them. Between 7 and 14, and the teen ages especially, and even into your early 20s. Think about those times, write about them, journal about them. find where the judgment is, if you find yourself angry at people, if you find yourself judging them, and you don't even really intend to, it's like it becomes automatic. It becomes a subconscious thing that we just take on into our subconscious mind, in a subconscious area of our life, and it goes beyond, believe me, the mind goes out there into the universe, and it's causing our subconscious to actually drive our life. And you don't want your subconscious to drive your life. You want to be the driver of your life. You want to be conscious and aware. You want to be awake and aware, okay? So, the easiest thing, and I have to keep saying this because it is so magnificently amazing. It's like a miracle relief to those who go to a QHHT session and they come out of maybe 5 to 6 hours of time spent with their practitioner, and you might go through some processing, but you'll receive some higher self information that you never knew about yourself or didn't realize about yourself, because your subconscious has been holding it all this time and driving your life. And it's been causing your life to go in ways that you don't want it to. You don't want it to go that way. It's like, don't go down that road. And I don't understand why I'm driving on the same road over and over and over again, and why people are not liking me, or why I'm trying to people please, and why is this happening? It's like it's blocked. Well, it can be unblocked. It really can be unblocked. That is good news. I know I could go to a baseball diamond and, I could be secure enough, even with the spatial issues. I believe I could hit the ball. Whether or not I'm going to go try it, I don't know, but I do have a steel bat that I carry with me just in case of other things happening. But that's a whole other story. So I hope this has helped you a little bit. If you have that seed of judgment, do not judge yourself. Take that judgment out of your own self-belief. It is a limiting belief. It will cause your life to be limited. It will cause you to be distressed. It will make you second guess yourself. It'll cause you to yield to people that you really don't want to yield to, and people please. And so, there are a lot of other things that I can mention, but this is getting long, and I do want to get it processed. But if I have to, and it comes to me spiritually, I'll go ahead and do a part 2 on judgment, because it is such a big subject. It really is. And just know that there's hope for you. Know that there is change ahead of you and for you. And there is a process that has been created just for you. And it can absolutely change your life. So don't discredit it. Don't push it away and say, oh no, that's a bunch of woo-woo stuff, okay? Let's not do that. Take a chance and see for yourself that sometimes for a lot of us, seeing is believing. Even though Jesus as a master said, we're good when we believe and we don't see. But sometimes we do need to see certain things in order to trust it, because our trust has been violated in so many ways, whether it's abandonment, whether it's rejection, whether it is judgment, regardless to what it is, abuse in your life. Maybe you're hypersensitive because you're an empath. Believe me, I know what that's like. So take a chance. Take a chance. It's good for you. It's good for your life. And know that you are greatly loved by so many, and you are greatly needed in this life. And we wouldn't be the same without you. You're such an important part of this beautiful collective puzzle. I just want to end this with, I'm loving you from here. Many blessings and namaste. And I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.